Hey everybody,
Hey,
how
Steve.
how you doing? How y'all
Good.
doing?
How are you?
Good, great, great, great. Well, I sure appreciate y'all coming, and it's hard to believe this is our sixth and final webinar, but I'm going to make this point several times tonight that please, when you have a question, this is not the end. I don't want you to lose my number, lose my email, whatever. If
Okay.
you run into a problem, don't forget, I owe you a couple months here, so please do so. So let me get this taken off the screen. And so again, ask me questions, please use me. And we're going to talk about, of course, part two. Hopefully you'll want to continue with that. But it's been a pleasure, and I certainly do not want to lose you. um, for your knowledge, the diploma has already been mailed. And I certainly have no idea when it'll get there. The post office is a little bit funky as far as I'm concerned, and it seems like it changed for the worse a few years ago. But it has been mailed, and hopefully you're going to get it this week. But who knows? Okay. And if you don't see something in a few days, let me know. Okay. And you're going to have the opportunity to meet my better half, as I put it, Lisa Albin. You're not going to meet her tonight, but I am going to invite you to come on August the 2nd uh, to a special LinkedIn Live. I'd love you to come, and I'll give you that information in just a moment. Lisa is a dear friend of mine, and I think you probably know, she was involved with live TV for 20 years, which is hard to believe. She's in her 40s now, but and that's what she looks like still. And she's really a brilliant young lady, and I'd love you to meet her. And she'll be handling part of my LinkedIn Live on August the 2nd. And I had to change the time today. It was set for the usual time of 2 p.m. to 2:30. So it's never a very long LinkedIn Live. And of course, it's always recorded. But if you notice, I've got it down as 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that is not going to work for most of you. I know that. I had to change it for sort of a sad reason. My mother-in-law died today. And so I need to certainly head to her funeral with my wife and her sister. I'll be driving them to Columbus, Georgia, if you know where Columbus, Georgia is. It's on
Mhm.
the Alabama line. So it's going to be about a 6.5 hour drive. So I'm sure you understand. So anyway, I had to change the time. And I have let anybody that's already registered for this class to know about it. But here's the LinkedIn link for it. And of course, you have all this information given to you. And again, I've been advertising it and advertising it now for probably a month, but it's titled Making Feng Shui a Lucrative Career, and it's with myself and Lisa. Okay. So I'll be doing the start of it, and then she'll be taking over for sort of the middle part of it, and then I'll finish up with it. But, I hope you'll join us on August the 2nd. It's not long, but if you can't make it physically, just register, and certainly, you're going to get the recording. Now, I found this on, where did I find this? I'm always finding things. And if you find stuff that you feel like it's really sort of speaks to you about feng shui and staging and comfortable living and people being successful, please send me any articles that you see. Anyway, I saw this ad and I thought, wow, this is cool. This is really a great way of putting it. And, with the heat wave that we've been hitting all over the country, it seems like when Minneapolis is, getting up into the upper 90s or stuff, they're not quite right. But, this was in centigrade. So I decided to go ahead and, I mean, Celsius. Uh, so I decided to go ahead and give you the conversion of what it means. So if you look on the left-hand side, we're looking at a very sunny side of the street, you might say. So 40 degrees centigrade, Celsius, I'm sorry, is the equivalent of 104 Fahrenheit. I think Phoenix, Arizona would probably be just fine with that right now. And if you notice in the shade, that same day, it could be at 32 Celsius, which is a lot less in temperature of 89.6, and so forth. So, again, I keep pushing the idea of trees, shaded trees, and all that kind of stuff. And, I hope you'll decide to talk to your clients about it also, how important it is to have deciduous trees in particular locations and possibly using um, evergreens in other places to support your backs. Okay. So again, if you find anything that you think that myself or the students would be of interest, I would appreciate you sending it to me. I'd love to take a look at it, even if I only just take a quote or two out of it. It's worth it to me. Okay. Now I got this from Francis, and this is a thing that I'm going to go through for you. How you actually use that transparent bagua, just in case you're not sure. And she wasn't sure how to go about using it. What I use is I use PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you an example of that in a moment, where I use PowerPoint and put the floor plan there. I'm going to use the floor plan that Francis gave me, and then I'm going to lay over it the bagua, the transparent bagua. So we'll do that in just a moment. So just in case you're not sure how to use that transparent bagua, I think this will be very helpful to you. She also asked me this question. How do you handle a room that could be in two different element quadrants? And again, that's a good question, and it does happen quite a bit. Let's face it, your wealth quadrant is not always going to be, just a particular quadrant. You might have it overlap with something else. Okay. Maybe fame will come into it or whatever. So how do you handle something like that? Well, the best way to handle it is whichever probably is the larger part of it, use it that way. And then secondly, consider strongly what element actually supports that. Okay. So that might handle your situation perfectly anyway. So I usually take the larger portion and fix it up that way as much as I can. And if I feel like it still needs something, then I consider the room separately. Okay. And I do it just the room by room.
Okay, thank you.
Another question that Francis had was about she was doing this particular floor plan, which we're going to show you in just a moment. And she was talking about bringing in tans, browns, beiges, and all those kind of things, the earth tones. And she was wondering about cream. And as you know, there's a lot of different creams out there. And yeah, in most cases, I would consider it a metal element, but sometimes those creams go more and more towards earth. So if it becomes more and more yellowy, um, I would probably lean towards more of an earth idea than metal. But a lot of the creams are very very close to a white anyway, of course. So again, it depends on really what the mix looks like to me. I don't think you have too much of a problem there anyway. But that answers it for you. Again, there's so many shades out there. When I'm working with all these different greens, for example, some of them have some blues in them, or they have some browns in them. So, you have to think about that a little bit. But, I think it becomes fairly clear after a while what you're going to do with it. But also don't forget that there are certain elements that actually encourage it or strengthen it. So just keep that in mind. You want to stay away from anything that's going to hurt the majority of that situation. So you stay away from the one that destroys, especially. So anyway, here's the floor plan that Francis gave me. Okay. So let's take a look at this for a second. And again, you want to find what first? Do you remember?
The front door?
I want to find the front door. So the front door is centered down on the bottom somewhat. And so I would take the floor plan and I would lay it, of course, on a PowerPoint slide. It's on a PowerPoint slide right now, but I'm going to have to actually take the slide and I'm going to have to put it into, you might say, edit, okay, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit escape right now, and I would be bringing that up. So let me go back to that for a second. Excuse me. So if I brought it up right now, it won't be maneuverable. So what I need to do is just hit escape, go into edit, then hover over it, make sure you've done that, and then you can move the thing as much as you want. Excuse me. So in this case right here, if I do this, let me see here. There it is. So it looks like I might need to extend this just a little bit. And let's take a look at the back now. And the back looks like it's going to be more here. So the best way to do it really is to use, again, PowerPoint, if you're familiar with PowerPoint. I use it for everything. And I hope it made sense what I was telling you about, Francis.
Yeah, I'm going to have to practice. I know a little bit about PowerPoint. And I guess another question, I guess I'm probably overthinking it, but when I received the floor plan, I scanned it, and my options to scan it onto my computer would be either as a document or as a photo. I'm not real sure if there's a difference between the two. I really saved one as a photo, one as a document. Does it matter if
Well,
I
I mean, I always use
save
it
it?
as photos. I
Okay.
think to me is just a photo
Okay.
in these cases right here. When you gave this to me, it was on was sort of reversed, so I had to flip it.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can flip it on PowerPoint too. Do you know that also? Here, I'll show you.
Uh,
So right now, if I go up here, can you see up top here? I don't know if you can or not, tell you the truth.
yes. Yeah.
So here's picture format.
Okay.
So you click on picture format and you go over to rotate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then you play with rotate, and you can rotate 90 degrees right, 90 degrees left. Normally, man, that will work in most cases, but sometimes I have to go down and rotate it by 1 degree after another to get it where I want it to be. But so you go to picture format and hit rotate, and that'll allow you to take something that you have entered in on a different angle that's probably not going to be as easy to look at for you or your client. So anyway,
Okay.
okay. Anybody have a question about transparent bagua or?
Okay,
maybe even the laying of the bagua or anything.
yeah, so just to, I guess, go just a little step further, is that where you go in PowerPoint and insert the transparent bagua that we've saved on our computer and
Okay,
then overlay it?
yeah. Yeah, you go over to insert and you go down to pictures,
Okay,
and then that's where wherever you put your pictures. I have pictures in different places.
okay,
So sometimes I have to point it at a different place to pull it up. I mean, I have, and really this is for all of you. If you're going to really get into this, you need to have a file of a lot of pictures. And I have tons and tons of pictures at this point of curb appeals, good and bad. I have a ton of bedroom pictures, good and bad, and so forth and so forth. I also have one titled accessories. So if I need to bring in a red pillow, I've already loaded it up, and I just bring it in. So, it's taken me, of course, a long time, I guess, to accumulate all this, but it doesn't have to. And for example, I also like to bring in, as you probably remember, some transparent plants into my pictures. So I like to use transparent pictures as much as I can. It just, I really don't want the background to show.
right,
And so anyway, you type in Google transparent plants, okay? You, not all of them are going to be transparent, sadly, even though it's under that, but you'll be able to look at different things in there. There might be certain bushes that you'd like to bring in as an example, or trees, or poles, or, fireplaces, whatever you need to do. But there are millions of photos on Google, and I'm sure there are on the other things too, like Yahoo, but I use Google for everything. So I have files all over the place that have different colors, for example, different colored living rooms, different color, because I have to show examples to people of what to do or what not to do. And so, I've accumulated a lot of things, and you'll do the same thing. You'll be finding out when you're doing your evaluations that some of these things are going to be more and more apparent to you that you need to have some pictures that represent this. So increasing your files on your computer would be a very positive way for you to spend, a few days or a few weeks, I guess. But very, very helpful to me. So, if I hit pictures right now, I could go down to the device, and this is my desktop, which I basically clean up every night. My desktops I've only got like 7 or 8 on there. So if I want to use photos for something, sometimes I save them up here for a quick access, but quite often I go to pictures, excuse me, and my pictures are right here. That's good. Maybe you won't let me do it. Okay. I guess I need to be at a different screen. But I have many, many, many pictures in that area. And, again, I save them. Sometimes I find, well, I don't really like that one too much. So I delete it and I add something else. But anyway, I hope that made sense to you. Pictures are going to be something very important to you to show examples of what's good and what's not. All right. Any other questions about the Bagua or the elements at this point before we continue?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just want to make sure I understand. So like we've got what are they, extensions,
Yeah.
um
Mhm.
bedroom 1 and bedroom 2, so then really those would be under the knowledge and skills and part
Right.
of the career, is that right?
That's right. Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, then I'm with you. I think I get this now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have a question about this stuff? I mean, again, we spent a couple of nights on this, I know, because it was very important. Maybe the most complex thing that we're going to cover in this 6-week class. Anybody else? You okay? Okay. So again, it's easy to maneuver it, but you need to go into edit. All right, so let's talk about building a house for just a second. No idea where you are if a lot of you get involved with this or not, but where I did most of my agency as a realtor was in the Charlotte area of North Carolina, and building was a big deal there. So there are many builders in Charlotte, and so I loved working with homes that were being built. Just loved it for a lot of reasons. Number one, and the real estate agents can probably agree with me here. In a lot of cases, the agent on site for the builder does a lot of the work for you. And I'm okay with that too. I quite often was working with several people at a time, as most of you are. And so the agent on site, when she or he was there, they would keep up with the whole situation in a lot of cases. But I always told my clients that I will go out every couple of weeks to check on it myself. And and I wanted to go out and actually do a walkthrough with them at different stages. Okay. So I enjoy doing that. There's the framing stage, for example, and there can be mistakes made at this point. And so, it to me was an awful lot of fun to do that and walk around and they're just so pleased that their home is going up, and so it's really a very positive situation. But you get involved with building, you're going to be starting with really basically the blueprints. So whether it's a luxury builder or a mass builder, there are plans that you can look at with your client, and they'll appreciate your input and your concern. And there's very few people that are going to be doing what you're doing at this point. So this might be something that you like to do. Now, as I'm fond of saying, this is the time before we get into framing and all that kind of stuff and where the foundation is laid, that you want to make sure that a lot of things are correct. For example, the lot. You know how important the lot is right now. But if the lot is facing certain directions, it might be uncomfortable for them at particular times of the day. That's why I don't really want it to be directly facing east or west, because it sort of takes away that part of the house for a few hours in the summer, for example. Okay. That's my feeling about it. Now, whether you do it, maybe, I don't know, southeast, that's a different ballgame. It's a little different. But when you're directly east or directly west, at least let them know that this is what's going to happen. You're going to have all this direct sunlight during the morning or in the evening when the sun's going down, and it might take away some of your joy and comfort. And I think they'd appreciate that because a lot of people don't think of those things a lot, but you will. So again, it's a lot of fun to me going through this kind of. So like I said, it's a really a rare opportunity for you to get an awful lot of things correct. You know where the best place for the master bedroom is now. And there really are two places downstairs or on the one level house. And that's in the wealth corner and of course in the marriage and relationship corner. That's the best places for it. Now you also have learned some ways of handling it if they've fallen in love with a plan where the bedroom is not in the back of the house, that you probably can help them, but you need to at least explain to them that you might appreciate having the master bedroom in the back of the house for a lot of reasons. So again, this is the way you can start off. Now, even bathroom locations and of course the plumbing can now be looked at. And Bathroom locations, we would prefer not to have a bathroom in the middle of the house if possible. But there are a lot of half baths there, especially. But again, you can then talk to them, and you might be the first person to ever talk to them like this. Hey, look, okay, this is your plan. You love this plan. The master bedroom's where you want. But this bathroom is in the middle. And so we're going to make sure you understand you need to keep that door shut, okay, at all times. So again, you're going to be talking to them directly and giving them information that they might not have even thought of. So again, number three, pick a lot that has the best directions for comfort as far as I'm concerned. And you can also, of course, handle some of the sharp edges at this point. And you can start to, really give them an awful lot of information, and they'll be so helpful. I mean, so appreciative of you. Again, there's so many things in here, and if you have any questions about any of these at this point, please go ahead and bring it up. But again, I loved working with builders. I love talking colors and even the lighting fixtures and all that kind of stuff. So starting from scratch, which I loved. But even the landscaping, of course, the landscaping, especially from a mass builder, like I don't know, I don't know who your mass builders are in your areas, but they're probably some of the ones that I know too. But those mass builders in their landscaping, they're cheap, cheap, cheap. They're going to give you a few little green bushes up front, maybe a tree if you're really nice to them, and you might want to have them do a little more. Yes, it might cost a little more, but if they put the tree in the wrong place right away, can you understand that's not very helpful to them in the long run? You can talk to them about having a regular lot. You can talk about the pluses and the minuses of location on a cul-de-sac. You can worry about stairways, the type of flooring. Again, I like all that kind of stuff, and I hope you do too. Even the address might be something that they've never thought about or really cared about too much. But there's some really strange addresses out there, strange names of streets that they'd rather not have that be their address for the next 10 years, probably. Okay. So, do you have any questions about any of that? Okay. So again, if you can take care of poison arrows early, great. And the more you have this type of curvy arches and shaved off corners, the better they will feel, as you know at this point. It's taking away straight lines somewhat, it's taking away poison arrows. So if they have the choice to do that, and it's not ultra extra expensive, you might want to push them towards something. Again, they'll appreciate all the extra information you're giving them because nobody else is doing that. So when you're helping a buyer, I've ran into this many, many times where people get really enamored with certain situations and they don't think about the whole thing. There's an awful lot more to just buying a pretty home. You want to make sure that the the location around it is not going to be terribly noisy. It's not going to be difficult to get out on the road to go to work. All those kind of things. Is the school a decent school? All those things need to be taken into account. And again, if you're going to be helping somebody, to me, this is also help that they could very much use. Explain to them about this noise. Explain about all this extra commercial lighting that possibly is going to light up the sky. Maybe you're only a block or two away from all of this commercial lighting. I would rather not be. Maybe they don't care, but again, if you're just thinking about them, they'll appreciate that you are. Get yourself a compass, and they're not expensive. Get yourself a compass. And again, for a lot of reasons, including picking out the right lot for them and all that kind of stuff. And even though we're not using a compass the way some feng shui schools do, it's a very, very handy tool for you. So you're going to learn about all this kind of stuff for people. You want to talk to them about the foyer area, how it's led, and all that kind of stuff. Again, if you have these checklists that I sent you, they'll help you, but you might be adding some stuff to it that all of a sudden you've come across that's maybe just as important. So that checklist might be something that could help you a lot when you start helping buyers. Yes, feng shui consultants are definitely hired by real estate agents and by buyers, often by the buyer because they really want to make sure. And what I'm used to with respect to a buyer is that they might wait until the last 3 or 4 homes and then have me tag along, you might say. Quite often, as you probably know, when you're looking at homes, sometimes it takes 15, 20, or 30 homes to look at. And, that's a lot of time and effort. So I don't think that I've ever looked at more than maybe 5 homes for someone. And then they picked the one they thought was the best situation. And again, you can definitely tell them all about this kind of stuff, missing quadrants and all that kind of stuff. This, in some ways, it'll blow their minds, but they're going to appreciate that you have so much more knowledge than most people about what's going to help them be more successful, be more comfortable. So helping a buyer to me has always been a lot of fun. Any questions about buyers? So the other three of you are not going to talk tonight? Okay. So you're probably eating or drinking wine right now, aren't you? Is that what you're doing, Debbie? You're drinking?
No, I've got my sparkling water right here.
Okay.
I feel like this is a lot of review
A lot of, I say, I mean, this is not,
from,
go ahead.
yeah, a lot of it's kind of review over what most of the stuff we've gone over, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Now, we talked about, or you watched evaluations, and I really do want you to ask me any questions you have about this, but did
I have
mention
a
to you.
question.
Sure.
Okay, you said take a long time outside looking around and everything. How long do you personally take?
Well, if you take too long, probably the police will come by, Kelly,
Yeah.
take you away, probably.
I mean, like before you go into, talk to the people, I get, looking around the house, looking at everything up and down the street, but like how long is
Too long.
long, I guess.
Yeah. Quite often I get to an appointment a little early and I pull out my camera already. Now they're expecting me, let's say at 1 o'clock, I'm there at 12:45. I'm walking around already taking photos of poison arrows, um, different things that I'm going to talk to them about on landscaping. I'm taking a picture of the front door from several angles. You know, uh, I like to start outside, getting a feel of what's going on outside. And even then, when I go inside, at that point, I'll sit down with them and talk to them for a little bit. And I said, look, I'm going to now go back outside and finish that up. And then I'll be back in. But I probably spend at least 15 minutes outside to give you
Okay.
an idea. And, one of the things that I like to do, and so does Lisa Albin, we like to, even while we're in the car, we just sort of meditate for a few moments to make sure that we're grounded. And then we know what we're going to do, and we're going to do a great job for them. But once I get out of the car, I have my camera and my notebook, and I will take, as long as it needs to, but I certainly don't want to give them the willies or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
I usually like to drive around the neighborhood too and just kind of look at different things around the neighborhood and
So,
make sure the streets are good.
no, I do that too.
Yeah.
Glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to see how yards are kept up. I do want to
Yeah.
find if there's some poison arrows that I need to at least know of their existence or if there's whatever. So this way it gives them some extra information on what we might want to try to do and stuff. So
Yeah.
no, that's a great idea because I do it. I do it too. Like I said, always get to my appointments early, and I do drive around a little bit, look at the side roads, look at the neighbors, give them the evil eye, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've got a listing coming up here in town and they have this privacy fence and in the backyard, like there is literally right after that fence, there's a auto body shop
Oh boy.
building.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, how well do you know those owners? Can you
Yeah,
have them
yeah, yeah.
painted or something? And I mean, and it says auto body on the building, so when you
Right.
look out the back door, you can see it.
Now,
It's kind of like,
that's a regular business,
yeah,
and I guess they're allowed to have that business in that area.
yeah, it's a smaller town, Bennington, so it's
Okay. All right.
yeah, it's kind of mixed use. They kind of plopped a neighborhood down
Gotcha.
in the middle of a, I don't know, there's a car dealership, used car, and then there's like storage units, and then right next to it there's a neighborhood that they plopped in there. So it's
Yeah.
not going to be the best and easiest one to sell.
No, no, no. So you said there's a fence behind it, behind the,
Yeah, they do have a privacy fence. The yard kind of slopes up to the privacy fence,
okay.
and it covers half of the building, I should say. So
Do they have any trees back there and stuff?
no trees.
Yeah, you might want to recommend putting some in, even though they're going to
Yeah,
be small, but that they'll, let the buyer know that they'll be growing out and
yeah,
taking some of the noise away.
that's a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, they're not all easy.
No, not at all.
So anyway, I always try to ask the homeowner to show me around, and Kelly does listing appointments. Some of the rest of you do too, of course, and I've always found out that the seller actually lights up a little bit in certain rooms and hey, look at this crown molding and all that. So that they really want to show it off. But it also gives me a chance to take the tour the first time with them. So they feel like they're somewhat connected. I mean, I would rather not just walk in, have them shake my hand, and then go into an office and leave me alone totally to start with. I'd rather we, had a little bit of a connection. So I'd like them to walk me around a little bit. Yeah, I draw the floor plan, especially if it's a tough one. I'm going to have to draw it, and they don't have the floor plan for me. But sometimes I have to just draw it. And, you don't have to be big time accurate, but you might be having to measure the back of the house and in some cases the front of the house of where the bagua is going to end. Okay. So keep that in mind. And then you might be using the bagua in separate rooms if you have to. Again, I walked the house several times and maybe the next time I'm looking for poison arrows. I have that EMF meter that I'd like to walk around with too. All the time I'm writing notes and taking photos of their place. And quite often I'll sit in a room. I'll actually sit on their bed and look around. It's just so I can see what they see when they're there. I promise you I don't lie on the bed, but I will sit on the bed or sit in one of their chairs and see what they see. So I take several tours, and I have my checklist just like you do, and it can come in quite handy for you. Now, space clearings, you may or may not even want to mess with this. I understand that. But space clearings to me are at times a very positive thing to know how to do. Now, if you decide you're going to join us for part two, we go into this a lot deeper, and we talk about different materials and where to get them and all that kind of stuff. So it can be drawn out, and there's a lot of different people. I'm sorry, a lot of people that do it differently. And but the whole idea is to try to get rid of this negative, stagnant energy. And predecessor energy to me is a real thing. I mean, somebody moves out, sometimes you can still smell whatever they cook all the time, or other things. They just sort of leave that energy behind them. All buyers are really looking for as new a home as possible, even though the home might be 50 years old. They don't want your baggage. They don't want your energy. So sometimes this is very important, especially like, for example, if you've got some problems in your life, okay, or they had problems in their life. Let's say, for example, the couple is divorcing, okay? To me, there is negative energy left behind, probably quite a bit of arguing. So this is not a bad thing to consider, be able to do. It could really, again, make you very unique, you might say. So Lisa does one or two every year. And, she even gets her kids involved with this. And, a lot of people even pay people to do nothing but space clearings. So if you enjoy doing it, I'll tell you a quick story. I don't think I told you this. So if I did, I'm sorry. But I worked with this one church, and the church was moving out of their one facility into a building that they had bought from a moose club, believe it or not. And when I was brought in by the pastor, um, there was a big bar in the back right, a big bar, beautiful wood. What'd you call it? What's the bar? I guess the bar is the best term. And there was even still beer in glasses sitting on the bar. And so anyway, I did a space clearing for this church. So you'll be surprised at different places that really want you to take away whatever the predecessor energy might be. Okay. So there's even considered to be good times and not as good at times. But you're going to pick up books, let's say 11 to 1. Well, that's fine. Let's face it, you're not always available from 11 to 1. To me, the best time to do it is when there's nobody going to, call you or need you or whatever, that you have the time to spend to do this. And there's a lot of times that it's important to do it for when you're maybe moving into a home, your children are going through some problems. There's a lot of situations. But one of the things you want to do is to prepare the home or business by first doing a clutter thing and getting rid, making sure it's clean, and then go ahead and do the pursuit. Again, there's a schedule that some people think is real important. I'm not one of them, but I want to give you the information. So a lot of feng shui folks think the best hours are between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. But to me, it's more that you're not going to be disturbed. Okay. Now, you have your clients walk around with you. Some of them are going to want to do it, and that's fine. That's fine. There are things that they can be involved with, and they just feel better about it that way. You have any questions about space clearings before I keep going?
Steve, just a quick comment.
Okay.
I've been doing space clearings for my other agents' houses
Uh-huh.
for the past couple of years. And even though things are moving very quickly in Denver, every once in a while you get that house that's just stuck and you can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And I've gone in and done space clearings, and within 24, 48, 72 hours, literally, that home is under contract. It's crazy how well it works.
Well, I mean, I'd love that to be always the case, Penny, and that's fantastic. I'm not prepared to guarantee that for everybody out there,
So,
but it does help quite a bit because you've really gone the extra mile in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
All right, vacant homes. This is another niche that some people shy away from. I know some real estate agents don't even want to mess with a vacant house. And well, to me, you can definitely handle these things if you use priorities. Okay. So in this first slide, you want to handle the big 4Ds. I don't think I need to tell you what those are. And then, of course, soften poison arrows in the vacant house. Think about focal points as much as you can. And then concentrate on the 8 most impressionable moments. So that's how I handle a vacant house. I take care of the priorities. I can't do everything else, and I don't want to because I always bill myself as doing a vacant house or any house inexpensively. So I'm not going to be hiring or bringing a lot of furniture. So if you remember, these are the rooms that probably in the correct order of how you're going to take care of things. So you want to make sure the front door and the curb appeal is really great. Okay, you don't need furniture for that. The master bedroom, of course, is pivotal, and you're probably were asking, well, how am I going to handle a master bedroom in a vacant house? And you did get some ideas from the video. The kitchen, hey, you clean it up and put some flowers in there, you're in good shape. Bathroom, same way. And if you have time, you do the dining room. There's a lot of ways to do the master bedroom, even without a correct, you might say, bed. Whether it's boxes or types of frames. So, I've done all that kind of stuff. And if I were you, I would consider that you might want to have certain accessories, and I know this was brought up by Penny and a few others about what accessories you might want to have. These were some of the ones that I always thought that I needed. Okay. So keep that in mind if you want to get into, especially doing vacant houses, that these are things that are going to come through real well for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about part 2. So after you achieve this, which you have now achieved it, and again, your diploma's in the mail, I hope you understand the next part 2 gives you another certification called Certified Intrinsic Feng Shui Professional. This allows you to work on anything. Okay, so for example, I love working on offices, that kind of stuff. I would like working on classrooms too, and when certain teachers want to have me look at them, or waiting rooms. So there's a lot of things that you can really put a lot of time and effort into it. Great thing about feng shui is that it supplements your current income while you get stronger in that area if you want to make it a full-time career. It is a great way to supplement an income and really great into retirement. This is the actual schedule for part 2, and it's the only other time we're doing it this year. So it's a little ways out, of course. It's about 2 months out for you, but during that 2 months, hopefully you're going to use me. You're going to ask me questions. You're going to have things that you need some help with. But on October 4th, we started off by, the same process where I assigned some videos to you. And then on October 11th, we're going to do the usual Q&A webinar kind of thing. And then we can continue. And so by November 20th, you then have your final certificate. And please understand that if you decide you want to go through this, you're totally certified with any organization at that point. We do some things a little bit different. We make sure that you are set up with our governing board, the International Feng Shui Guild. And so we actually even pay for your first year of membership. And we again mentor you for 2 months on this one too. And it's $1,600. I know that's an investment, but we have a payment plan of 5 months. And probably we could even stretch that if we have to. And again, you need to understand that this is something that you can do in the future if you want to. Some people decide this is what they want to do for their lives. And if you come to the August 2nd thing and listen to Lisa and myself, you'll find out that I think we pretty much enjoy our lives. I mean, and I hope you enjoy your lives now too, but we really enjoy doing this. So anyway, we register you with the Guild, the governing board. The International Feng Shui Guild is fantastic. I've spoken for them a few times, and I think I'm going to be speaking for their summit on November. And so anyway, the first year membership is paid for you by us. And again, we mentor you. So do you have any other questions for me? There's the logo. You've been given the first logo on the top. I'm very proud of the second logo, the Certified Intrinsic Feng Shui Professional. That logo is also given to you if you decide to go through part 2 with a white background and also transparent. But we want you to be successful, even if you don't decide to continue with us, okay? We really do appreciate you deciding to pick our school. And I think you'll love Lisa. And so I hope you'll definitely at least register for the event on August the 2nd, even though 9 in the morning might be, I don't know, might be difficult, especially for you all out west. I don't know what time that would be for you, Penny. 9 o'clock in the Eastern Standard Time. What's that? Is that 6 or 7 in the morning? Something like
7. That's not so bad.
Yeah, well, glad to hear that. But anybody else have any questions for me? Left a little bit of extra time just in case you want me to go over anything. I think I've got it all memorized, so I can probably help you with anything. I've been doing this for so long.
I just want to say that I really learned a lot in your class, and the videos were very easy to follow, and
Good.
I was able to learn. The only part, of course, was the, placing the transparency, that part, and that's a different issue. That's operator issue.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I've never used PowerPoint, so you're not alone.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I've used it occasionally. I just I'm kind of out of touch on it, but I like the structure of the class. I like that you have these Q&As, along with
Right.
other members.
Yeah.
Getting feedback from the other students is very helpful for me to learn.
Right.
So
Great.
thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, something you just said that I was going to remark on. And of course, once again, I went through one ear out the other on my say, once you get older, it's a little bit different. Let's see. I'm sure I'll remember it probably after we say goodnight. But yeah, I appreciate all the kind words. We do go over how to use PowerPoint in part 2.
Oh,
So if you're interested, I've done a whole video on PowerPoint that I give to you.
oh
I have
wow.
a whole video on LinkedIn that I give to you. So, we do a lot about marketing and all that kind of stuff too. I had a lot of people earlier this year that said the same thing about PowerPoint. They didn't know how to get started or didn't know what to do. So, like I said, well, okay, I'll put something together, and a lot of people have found it helpful. you're going to be using something like that probably when you write up a report for somebody, and it's so easy to take that PowerPoint and turn it into a PDF.
I usually ask my 25-year-old son.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's one way to do it. But that's how I do my PDFs. And, I then display PDFs. The PDFs are on my website in different locations. And, so I'd be dead in the water without PowerPoint. So if it's helpful to you, it's in part two also. So I can't remember how long it is, but it's, it goes over the basics, and there's a lot to PowerPoint. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But, the more you play with it, the more it becomes second nature to you. It's really a great thing to know. Anybody else? Okay.
I
Okay.
think I'm good.
All righty. Fantastic. Well, again, I hope you'll decide to show up on August the 2nd. And it's been a joy to have all of you. And I wish you all the best. And again, please don't disappear and stay in touch with me. Okay. If you got a problem, you just holler. Okay.
I do have a question, Steve.
Sure do.
Are we going to be able to finish the videos you have on there? Because I haven't finished watching all of them yet. I've been busy. So I know you said we could watch them. Are we still going to have access to that?
You are. Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah. I mean, I know there's probably at least 6 or 7 that we haven't gone over. Those were a little less important, but some of those things, they might be something that you want to be
It's
involved
always
with.
nice to go back and rewatch too to refresh your memory.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're yours. So, and
thank
if
you.
and if you
Right.
lose the password, just contact me or Lisa. Lisa's the one that changes the password. So I'm going to try to keep it the way it is, but she changes it like every year or so. So if you all of a sudden have a problem, just email us or text us or whatever, and we'll give you the new password. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much. And if you don't see your diploma, please holler at me. But you should be. I suppose you're going to get it by the end of the week. Okay. So,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you so much. You all be good.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Steve.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.